Hey, what's up, Nerf Herders? This is John from the Nerf Herders Podcast. The Nerf Herders Podcast, your one-stop shop for all movie, TV, comic book, and video game-related news and information. I'm here today with another comic book review. Sitting in my car on my lunch break, just kind of hanging back, and man, we've had a lot of shit going on for the last couple weeks here. So Marvel, as my previous reviews were talking about, we had the Secret Wars. The Secret Wars has been rebooted, new story, new characters, and it's pretty exciting. So with where we left off last time, so we have the two worlds colliding, the two versions of Earth, with all Earth's mightiest heroes unable to stop it, do anything about it, and boom, nothingness, destruction, decay, and everything happens all at once to leave the Marvel Universe and the multiverse completely destroyed and weathered. And now we have Battle World. So Battle World is basically the remains of the previous worlds or the previous Earths, and all of our heroes have been kind of scattered out throughout the the realm, and various stories are now coming up within those various offshoots, and you're starting to see exactly what's going on at this point with all of our characters that aren't necessarily included in the Secret Wars storyline. So the first one I want to talk about today is the Old Man Logan. Now this book kicks so much ass. This is probably one of my favorite books in a long time. So you almost have this very cool outlaw, Wild West style, I guess, story. It's taking place, looks like, in Nevada, somewhere in Nevada, but man, this is kick-ass, dude. So you got various villains, and you have basically Old Man Logan, and Old Man Logan is kind of just walking blindly through the decay and the remains of what once was, and he comes across various villains and bad guys along the way, and he basically explains that he's here to bring good into this world that has no good left in it. So one of the defining moments of the book I thought was pretty cool was he killed a few of these bad guys. Like I said, with these reviews, I'm not going to give too much away. I'm not going to really give many spoilers away, but I'm going to give a few cool parts. But yeah, he killed a few bad guys, and actually left this one kid pointing a gun directly at him, basically saying, you killed my dad, now I'm going to kill you when I grow up. And Logan just gives him like this badass response, where he's just basically like, when you're old enough and you still think you want to kill me, just come and try and see what happens. And it's pretty cool. But he basically just the first thing he does is really, he liberates some innocent people from the clutches of evil. And then what's really, really awesome is he finds Ultron's helmet, or Ultron's head, one of the Ultrons, I guess. But it's pretty cool. So that kind of starts his journey halfway through this book. He kind of goes on the search to find the remains of these Ultrons, or what once was, and runs into a few characters along the way. You find some really cool little Easter eggs in here. He comes across, for example, some Iron Man masks, some merchandise from the Fantastic Four, and even Thor's hammer pops up in here. So it's pretty cool. Anyway, that really does it for this book. The artwork is pretty cool. It's a little different than your normal run-of-the-mill artwork, but I like it. It's very old school, as in everything just has a very rusty look to it, and I really like that. I like that they kind of have this set up in this very Western, I guess, setting. So it's pretty cool. I know I'm having a little trouble right now choosing my words, but whatever, I'm at work, so what the hell, right? The next book I wanted to talk a little bit about is the Infinity Gauntlet. So this has also been rebooted. This is also taking place in Battle World, the remains of once two worlds that collided. And this one takes place, present day as everything else. So it's a little different than, the 80s version of the Infinity Gauntlet. But what you have here, what I really liked about this book was, you start out in the inner city, the destruction of the city, the metropolis, and you have this family that's kind of struggling to survive since the mother of the family left to join the Nova Corps. So she's gone to go, fight Thanos and protect the realm, while the family's kind of struggling to survive. So you have the daughter who's constantly missing her mother, the father who's struggling to, keep his kids safe. And then, you have all these creatures that kind of pop up. So there's a lot of action in this book, definitely a lot of action. But what's really cool is this girl, this little girl, she kind of, musters up the courage to fight back. She channels her inner, Nova power, I guess you could say, because her mom is a part of the Nova Corps. So she kind of sees that in herself, and she starts fighting back against these creatures that come, to chase after her and kill them. And what she finds in the midst of this battle is an Infinity Stone, and she's able to hold it. She's able to, basically not necessarily control the power of the stone, but the stone doesn't do anything to her when she's holding it. So kind of gives you this hint that maybe she has some deep power within her. And then we see her mother show up at the end of the book, which is pretty cool, coming back, to help the family out. But at this point, what's really awesome is that you have Thanos. Thanos is slowly trying to recover all of the Infinity Gems, or the Infinity Stones, and he's basically been watching this entire time as this little girl found an Infinity Stone. So it ends right then and there. So it definitely leaves it open for you to see some really cool action, as Thanos is probably going to have some kind of altercation with this family to get his Infinity Gems back. That does it for the Marvel books that tie into the Secret Wars. So far, I'm actually enjoying this a lot. I mean, I had, like I said on the last video, didn't have very high hopes. I felt like it was just going to be some unoriginal bullshit that Marvel cooked up to, just pass the time, to get some shit out there, whatever. But fuck, man, Old Man Logan, favorite book this year for me. Very awesome stuff. Now, real quick, these other books I'm going to review real quickly, they've been out for quite a while. I'm actually on the 4th one right now, but we have Scott Snyder's Wytches. So we got Wytches, the first one, there's number 2, and then we have 3 and 4 right here. Pretty intricate artwork, very postmodern, very interesting, but very eerie at the same time. There's only been 6 issues of this book so far. I'm on the 4th one right now. Just finished the 4th one, going on to the 5th one tonight. But I just wanted to talk a little bit about the first one, because, I really want some people to go out and check this out. This is a fucking awesome book, man. This is really cool, very fun, very scary book. I'm not really into horror comics that much. I have a few old ones that I kind of keep around just for shits and giggles, but for the most part, I really do not check out that many horror books. I don't know why. I guess I just enjoy horror movies a lot more than books. But when it comes to comic books, I'm more looking for that I don't know, just the right story, I guess. And sometimes it's hard to put that into a comic book when you're in the horror genre, because things are sometimes a lot harder to make scary, I guess, on paper as they are in the movies. I'm not sure. But this book was awesome. It really hit it out of the ballpark, honestly. Scott Snyder is a phenomenal writer. If you don't know who he is, he's done plenty of other stuff, but my favorite is The Court of Owls, which is a Batman book. Very cool stuff. He's a great writer. He really knows how to make a story really just interesting from front to back, and that's exactly what this book did for me. When I saw it in the first comic book shop that I found it in, I kind of was just iffy on it. I saw this artwork and it was just kind of out there. I mean, I really like it, but when you see this for the first time, you don't really know what to expect. I didn't hear anything about this book before it came out, but it had enough to kind of intrigue me to say, what the hell? It's Scott Snyder, I'll give it a try. And man, I'm really glad I bought this book. So you have the Rooks family, and that's the basic family that this book follows. And the Rooks family basically is going through a lot of emotional stuff with their daughter. Her name is Sailor. And Sailor seems to just have a lot of emotional problems. She's had problems with bullying at school. She's just had lots of past issues that have been troubling her. And she seems to have some kind of spiritual, supernatural element to her. Very interesting. So you start out the book. Book starts out kind of. I mean, I don't know if this is a modern era when it starts out, but you have a lady who's like trapped in this tree, and her son finds her, and you have this this kind of hint that there's these creatures, and I guess these are the witches, who are coming for the mother who's trapped inside the hollow part of the tree. So I guess they live within the trees, but the mother is asking her for her son for help, and the son basically says, well, you were pledged or you were sacrificed, so I'm not helping you. And then he bashes his mother's brains in, and like sacrifices his mom, and then you see like this crazy ass like claw drag the mother into the tree, and it's very like eerie, just very crazy shit. But oh yeah, here we go. That's the Cray family from August 1919. So the beginning of the book starts out, about 100 years ago, and then it fast forwards to today, which is the Rooks family, which is so far what this book has been covering. And it goes through the Rooks family, different eras, different time periods. So you have them, 2014, and then a couple years prior, this and that. But you have this girl, Sailor, and she's starting, her first week at a new school. Her parents have moved her into a new area, a new town. But they all know who she is because of a confrontation she had with a bully years past, where she and the bully were in the woods. The bully was going to abuse her, assault her, and, possibly kill her. And then the witches got her. And they don't really allude to what the witches are at this point. But you have, the bully is in the woods with Sailor, about to kill her with a gun, it looks like, yeah. So she's got the gun, she bashes Sailor over the head with it, and then all of a sudden you hear, the sound of the witches in the background, and the witches take her and drag her into the tree. So it's really cool, it lets you use your imagination to really get into this book. But everyone from the school thinks that Sailor killed this girl, and that and Sailor was knocked out at the time. She didn't actually see what happened, but everyone thinks she's this murderer, this and that. So she's having a lot of trouble at this new school because everyone thinks she's some crazy criminal chick, when in fact it was more of the supernatural element of witches that really killed the bully. So you have that, and then basically they're in their new house getting settled in, and the girl is still having issues. She has trouble sleeping at night. She can't really figure out, why or what's going on. But all of a sudden, she sees the body or the corpse of the bully in the tree outside of her window of her new home. And get that right there. Check that out. That's some scary shit right there. And basically the bully, breaks into the room and attacks her. And then it basically leads you to the next stage of the book. And after this, it gives you kind of a cool little, I guess, tidbit of Scott Snyder's, vision when he was writing this book. I mean, he talks about, growing up in Pennsylvania, the woods, things of that nature. He gives a little insight to, how the story came about for him and things like that. So it's a really cool book. I mean, the others have been definitely exciting. I haven't read the full thing yet. I've only read the first 4, so definitely recommend checking this out. Hopefully it'll come out with a trade fairly soon. I'm not sure, how many books this plans on spanning across, but it's a really cool idea. Basically, these witches, are kind of almost in this like secretive order of living in the woods, and you have these people that are pledging, I guess, bodies to them to sacrifice to, suck the life force out of. I haven't really gotten that far into it yet, but it's a pretty cool story, pretty cool ideas. The artwork is awesome. I really like the way they do the artwork because it's almost like it was done with like lots of paintbrushes and very, I guess, not necessarily sloppy, but it gives you that it's not very, crisp. And I like that about this book because it also just leaves it to be kind of messy, and it adds to the chaos that's going on within each issue. So check it out, Wytches. It's from Image. Scott Snyder, killing it like always. So that about does it for this comic book review. If you have any other books you want me to review, go to the channel, like the Facebook page, Nerf Herders Podcast, the Nerf Herders Podcast. And we're actually going to be making another comic book review this weekend after we do the podcast for the movie news. And we're going to talk about something very, 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 very touchy, very controversial. Probably the most controversial thing that I've seen come in a comic book in quite a while. And I know the internet's kind of exploding over this, but I'm fucking exploding over this. That's Star Wars #6. Now, we're not going to get into it right now, but I kind of just want to rip this fucker apart because, well, this book sucks. And we'll talk a lot more about it on Sunday with the other video. Me and Scotty are going to double team that shit and kind of just have a freak out rage video. So, like the page, like the podcast, check us out. Check out all the other videos. J-Bone's been putting up some really cool video game reviews. Lots of Witcher 3 footage. And his most recent one talks about Fallout, the new one that's going to be coming out with those shitty graphics. So if you have any questions, hit us up on Facebook. We would love to see what you have to say. Give us some feedback and also give us some topics to talk about. I have big-ass stacked comic books that I need to get through. Everything that's been coming out lately. So, if you have anything specific you want to hear me talk about, you know what to do. Until next time, thanks for watching. I'm John with the Nerf Herders Podcast. Peace.